All right, so good morning and good afternoon or evening. For those in Cameroon, it is evening. For those in the eastern part of the US, it is afternoon. And for those of us in the western part of the country, it is morning. So good morning and welcome to this book launch. My name is Jude Fokwang, and I am the publisher at Spears Media Press. So it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you all. For those of you who are new to our publishing platform, we were founded in 2014. We've been publishing wonderful books since then. And today we are pleased to celebrate and share with the world one of the, I think, defining books that has come out of our press, documenting the history of the Bali Nyonga and in part the Chamba people of Cameroon. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this event. I want to recognize everybody who is here, all the notables, uh, illustrious sons and daughters of Bali Nyonga, friends of Bali, people who research Bali as well. And also a few members of my publishing team are here with us. You'll get to know them shortly. For those who are not familiar with our platform, we have a website, spearsbooks.org. You may want to visit it to see lots of very, very interesting books. And if you are on social media, you can also follow us on Facebook as well as Instagram and X. And our handle on all those three platforms would be Spears Books. We'll get to share that detail again as the launch unravels. So it's a pleasure. I think without much ado, I would want to pass this on to um, a member of my team to introduce to you our moderators. So, Lilian, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for being here. Today's launch is going to be moderated by our very own Ba Gomia, or non-professionally as Dr. Gomia Victor. And he is, apart from being a very, very esteemed member of our team, he is a professor at Delaware State University and teaches at the Department of Languages and Literature. He's a professor of world literature, and his research interests includes literature in post-colonial settings, as well as globalization and literature. And he's also been the author of a book that's published by Spears called Rewriting Past, Imagining Futures, Critical Explorations of Contemporary African Literature and Theater. He has published journal articles on Bole Butake and Ngugi wa Thiong'o. His most recent awards are from Delaware Humanities Forum and Howard University's Center for African Studies. And gives me great pleasure to have us welcome him here today to moderate this book launch. So over to you, Bagumia.
Thank you so very much, Manyem. And ladies and gentlemen, as you heard in the introduction, my name is Victor Gumia. It gives me great pleasure to be part of this launching event today. And it's always wonderful being part of any effort that promotes reading and knowledge gaining in our community, especially in an age that we are drifting away from the fundamental goals of education. Things are changing so very fast, and it is thanks to organizations like Spears Media that we still put the effort that we can to the drawing board to get back to what it means to write a book, what it means to immortalize knowledge, what it means to disseminate knowledge in a very sustainable manner. It gives me great pleasure to be here again today, and I hope Ma Lilian, the co-moderator, will be joining us. At the moment he joins, she'll probably continue in other aspects of the moderatorship. I just want to take a moment before I move on to the strict program that I was given to follow today to state that having gone through the text that we're launching today, I find it very, very enthralling. I find it very, very engaging. And like I commented somewhere else before, this is arguably one of the most lucid explanation of the making of modern Bali Nyonga. And it will be wonderful for everybody. Let's find out ways that we can disseminate this text in our circles. There are many ways we can do that. One of them is to send copies to all Takums across the globe, maybe just 10 copies each, so people can be able to have access to the text. We know that it is no longer as attractive as it used to be a decade ago for people to sit down and actually enjoy reading. But I can still argue, as somebody who is into the profession of encouraging people to read, I can still argue that there's a lot that one gains in reading. There's no other way you can really gain knowledge in a more sustainable and more easy fashion than just to read a good story. And I find this a very, very interesting story to read. And more importantly, if you are coming from our part, not only as somebody from Bali Nyonga, somebody from Africa, we should be proud of initiatives like this. We should be proud of projects like this. Because one of the problems that we are facing as a people of African origin, or as Africans generally, both in the diaspora and back in the continent, is that we are losing our own story. We are losing our own history. And when we have initiatives like this, we need to celebrate it. We need to figure out ways that we can disseminate it, figure out ways that we can give it back to our people to make sure they get to know who we are. Because like Chino Achebe, one of the frontline writers in Africa once said, when you read somebody else's story for too long, you may find yourself in a strange boat. In other words, when you read somebody else's story for too long, you are dispossessing yourself. All right? At some point, the story you are telling is no longer your own story. And when you allow somebody else to come in and tell your own story, that's even worse, because that person eventually owns you without you knowing. So it's from this standpoint that we cannot afford to stop appreciating and encouraging efforts like the one that we are celebrating today in the form of launching this textbook. As we move on in the program, we will have opportunities to comment, opportunities to share ideas and share views, and make sure we gain the best that we can in the next 1.5 hours per the program timeline that we have here. So I will move on to our next item on the agenda, which has to do with introducing the author. And this is going to take between 3 and 5 minutes. And the person who will help us do that will be Ma Lilian. Is Ma Lilian here yet? Ma Lilian from Monom? Okay.
I am having some challenges, Doc. I am telling you, it is raining cats and dogs here in Tennessee, and it has knocked power off. And I am just using my phone to log on. I have been, oh my gosh. Doc, can you just give me about a minute or two? Because I literally have to I'm using my phone, but I'm trying to see how I can transfer onto a desktop. If it's going to allow me do that now. Oh my gosh.
Sure. Well,
This
we'll give
is
it 2 minutes. Next 2 minutes, you
yeah,
can figure
just
out
give
what
me
you can
2
do.
minutes. Yes, let me
Okay.
figure out what to
Sound
do
good.
with the thing
Sound good, Mali.
here.
Sound good.
Thank you so
Sound good.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mali. Thank you. So great stuff here. And I want to just maybe go ahead of myself and Mali in a sense to say that the author of this book, Fondin Di Fonta Nyamdi, of course, a notable in our community. This is not the first publication that is bringing out that has to do with Bali Nyonga. And I want to say We, of course, we have ambitions. We are looking forward to achieve many things in life. But to me personally, I don't find anything that builds legacy that surpasses a textbook like this. All right, we can do whatever we want to do, achieve whatever we're achieving, but the only thing that is sustainable is a textbook. It's a story that you tell in writing, in written form. And so our expectation is that we'll have more of this kind of effort in our community. We have more of this kind of project in our community, and so we cannot thank the author, people like the author, and we know there are other authors who have written as well. I know that who is on the line, Bangkom Dangam has written on Bali. I know that Batita, who's on the line, has also written on Bali. There's a book that I think I wrote one of the blurbs in that he edited few years ago. So there's a lot that is coming out, and we need to keep encouraging our folks to make sure that they write something. I'm sure we have something still in its conception stage, which we also have to do with trying to document, say something about our culture, our people, where we come from, our way of life, the way we see the world, and the way we expect others to see us, not just to sit and listen to people define us like they've been doing. And then we find ourselves, like Achebe says, in a strange boat. And then we're struggling between the lines, right? So it's never too late. I believe that we're going to get things going. So I was just making a point to the effect that Ban Defonta, the author, this is not the first work that he has published on Bali. There are others, and I'm sure that with Google now in everybody's hands tip, you just go to Google him, you'll see a list of all his publications coming up. That said, as we wait for Ma Lilian, the co-moderator, to come in and give a formal introduction to the author, if anyone else on the line has a comment or two to make, the floor is open. It might just be greetings. I see there are people joining us from Bali Nyonga. The Bar Reverend is joining us from Bali Nyonga. I see Ni Jela Kaspa joining us from Washington, D.C. I see Makado all the way from the great state of Michigan, my former neighboring state. I see who else? Now Honorable Mamun Emadaiga, Mamun Yeluma Emadaiga, as she would like to be called. I see quite a handful of people joining, and it's going to be very exciting. Anybody, the floor is open, 1 or 2 minutes. If you have something to say, greet people or make a comment, you're welcome. By you're on mute. If you are speaking, you're on mute. Bar Reverend, it seems as if you're speaking.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me see.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, because it is evening here in Bali Nyonga. I'm speaking from Jenka. It's a pleasure to be part of this book launch, and we are looking forward to hear what will be told about the book, and also waiting to grab our copies as soon as we know our contacts. We already were told that Bob Pondi himself will be the contact in Cameroon from where we can get copies of the book. Accept greetings from Bali to all who are already in the Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend. It's great to have you joining all the way from Bali. It's really exciting. Okay.
Just wanted to add that this is just housekeeping stuff. If you would like to talk, there's a raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. So for those who are not familiar with Zoom, just look at the bottom of your screen. You should see a raise hand feature there. It looks like this. Just hit on that and we would know that you would like to talk. So for example, this is what I have. You can now see on my screen, it shows that I have a raised hand. So use that feature. And once you have it, we know you want to talk, we will unmute you. Over to you, Nivi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Niju. Okay, as we look forward for Lillian to join us, I'll just do a rundown of the program that we have as well. I didn't know we we're going to come to this because we're trying to make use of our time in a very judicious manner. So when Lillian joins and introduces the author for today's launching, we'll then move to the chief launcher. We have Nijut, am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong here. We have two chief launchers. We have Professor Chitanji of Landmark University, and we have Professor Legal of Landmark University. Is that correct?
Yes, when the author is introduced, then there will be a word from him, number 4.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. And then after that, we'll move on to book marketing. Moderator and publisher team informs attendees of promotional sale on the Spears bookstore. Encourage attendees to purchase for themselves, friends, and family, donation to libraries in Cameroon. This is a very important item on our launching agenda, because this is a point where we try to encourage people to join in disseminating the textbook. So you can buy and send to some friend as a gift, send to a relative as a gift, send to a university, send to a library, a public library. You can decide to, I know a few launches before this one, we had someone who decided to buy for all her children, for example. Say, hey, for this book, I want each of my child to have a copy. And I'm going to make sure I supervise that they read this copy from the beginning to the end. That in itself is a very, very good thing. We promote people to read and also to make sure they get copies. And if I want to say that Spears Media is not in a strict money-making business per se. It's really more about a calling. I happen to know a bit more about the organization from birth. It's really more about the calling, about that commitment to do something that is different. All right, commitment not to depend on Western publishers who often look down on publishers from the continent, from Cameroon, if you want, particularly. When we look critically, you see that we also do stuff that are really, really good. And Spears Media has taken a path that is very unique. The publishing outfit is now gaining visibility across the world, not only just in Africa. I was in East Africa, I was in Uganda last year, and I was surprised to meet a scholar asking to know if I knew Spears Media, that he has a manuscript that he's been expecting to read from them. And I surprised him by saying, I'm part of the editorial board of Spears, and that I've seen his title, but I've not read the text because that's not my area. So what I'm saying, in effect, is that we should help disseminate this textbook. Each person who is attending this launching today should be able to buy at least more than a copy for him or herself, and then a copy for a friend, or copies for family members, copies for acquaintances, copies for colleagues on the job site. And if you are a Takum joining us in this launch today, please buy at least 10 copies and take to your Ndakum. I'm very sure that as a Takum, if you stand in any Ndakum, anywhere around the world, Bali Nyonga, as we call it, and you say this book is about the history of Bali Nyonga, the making of the modern Bali Nyonga. It's difficult to have a real Bali Nyonga person who would not want to get a copy for his or her private library. So I see Malian is here. Wonderful. Thank you, Mali. You joined us finally. The nature gave way, and here you are.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I am still working. I am still working on my phone, using my phone to work, which I don't know if it is coming out properly, but we will make do with that. Let me see. Can you all hear me though?
Sure, we can hear and see you very clearly and clearly.
Okay. Okay. So we will just work with what we have. I mean, like the saying goes, if Mohammed cannot go to the mountain will come to Mohammed, right?
Absolutely.
Anyway, so thank you all so much. It's a wonderful, wonderful platform for crowd message. I think you and your wife, both of you, are ignoring me, and for good reasons. I did send you guys in the chat room introduction of the author. So I can speak off my head. He happened to be personal big brother, a boss, you name it, a role model, all of that encompassed in one individual. He is extremely, extremely learned and very versed with the Bali Nyonga and the Cameroon history as a whole. And I was privy to read his very first book. I think that was way back in the 80s, or yeah, late 80s or mid 80s, somewhere there. And very rich text. And I could not wait for a follow-up. And thank God he wrote this one, which we are also reviewing right now, or which we are introducing to the public. But it's been around for a while, and I read it thanks to Spears Media. I was able to secure a copy sometime back. So I just want to say welcome to all of us here. And Professor Gomia, you have been doing a fantastic job, I can imagine, trying to cover for me and do all of that. And like I said, it is raining cats and dogs here in Tennessee. It knocked out power. I'm just working on my phone, using my phone to bounce back and forth, but that's okay because we got to do what we got to do. So, Professor Fokwang, do you have a formal write-up for me to use in introducing the author? If you
Yes,
can
I do.
share
I
that
do.
with,
hmm
okay, if you can,
What's the
share
best
that
way to
with
send
me,
that?
then I will. Well, I guess you're just going to have to use my WhatsApp message for me to open it, or my email, and I can work back and forth with the screen. I was not able to even put the beautiful background which we needed to use, which all of us are using here on the platform because of my temporary setback, but that's fine. We'll get
Okay.
things done. Yes. If you send it through my email, then I will open that and go through it.
Okay. Let me do that right away. Give me a second.
Kado, good to see you. I haven't seen you since you were like 2 years old. Kado Ndifonta, that's who I'm talking to. I can see you on the screen. I haven't seen you since you were probably like 2 years old. Yes, yes. And thank you all so much for dialing in and coming to review this book. And if you have not, I'm telling you, if you have not read this book yet, it is time to buy one as a gift to somebody. This is a wealth of knowledge, very well researched, and there's so many eye openers in this book that I did not even know about. And I am a consumer of history, Cameroon history, or history as a whole. So I just could not, I mean, this book is wonderful. And I hope there's a sequel to it. Professor Jude, did you do that? Did you send me?
It has come
Let
through,
me know
yes.
when it
Yes, please check
when
your
you do.
email. hmm
Okay.
Check your
All right.
email, yeah.
Let me check that. Give me a sec. Thank you. I got it. So let me open it. All right. Bob Prof, I think it's the you resent me the program.
There are two attachments there, Ma.
Okay, let me.
So the first one is the program. The second one is the author bio. Just.
Oh, okay, good. My bad. I saw that. Give me a few minutes. Okay, I got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining, and let us formally meet the author of this wonderful book. Like I said, a collection of history and history lessons and sociological lessons and psychological lessons as well, and anthropology, if I may add. So, Fondi Ndifonta Nyamdi was born in Bali Nyonga on the 19th of October 1952 to Ba William Do Nyamdi and Na Christina Kakuntan. He was educated at the Federal Bilingual Grammar School, Yaoundé, Cas Bambili, the University of Yaoundé, and the University of London. He earned degrees in history, journalism, and international relations. Dr. Ndifonta's interest in Bali Nyonga goes back to his father, who was the first presenter of Mungaka programs over Radio Buea in the early 1960s. That influence also led him to become a journalist. He graduated at the top of his class from the International Higher School of Journalism in Yaoundé in 1977. He worked briefly at the national station of Radio Cameroon, but was soon attracted to a career in diplomacy. He was admitted to the International Relations Institute of Cameroon in 1977. He graduated in 1979 and was recruited as a diplomat in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The following year, he was posted to the Cameroon Embassy in London, where he served until 1986. The posting to London enabled him to pursue his studies. He was admitted to the London School of Economics and the Political Science in 1981 and graduated in 1984 with a PhD in International Relations. He was recalled to Cameroon in 1986 and appointed as Deputy Director General in the newly created national television network, CTV. In 1988, he was appointed as Director General of the Yaoundé Conference Center. He served there for 25 years until his retirement in 2014. Within the diplomatic profession, he rose to the rank of Minister Plenipotentiary, which is a superscale. For many years, Dr. Ndifonta has been deeply involved in the affairs of his native Bali. He was the pioneer president of its student association, BANSA, in 1974. He headed the Bali Nyonga community in Yaoundé from 1987 to 1996 and was the president general of the Development and Cultural Association, Bandeka, from 1999 to 2008. Dr. Ndifonta devotes his private time to research and writing. He has published 5 books, and his latest work, The Politics of British Cameroon Plebiscites, was released by Spears Media only a fortnight ago. Dr. Ndifonta is married to Nana Shua Perfok, and they have been blessed with 7 children. And they also have grandchildren, even though you did not add that, Professor Fokwang. They have grandchildren, and dare I say he was my boss at CRTV. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, please do not blink. If you blink, you'll miss it. Please put your hands together and let us give a thunderous welcome to this son of Bali Nyonga, and dare I say, the son of the universe, because he is an international icon. So welcome, Dr. Ndifonta, welcome, Bandi,
and it's always
and
going to be there
welcome,
anytime
my
you
boss.
want it.
Welcome, boy.
Thank you. Pandika.
Chatioba.
Fakwanjika. Fandika.
Chatiba.
Fandika.
Mia Oba.
Chatio.
So after that powerful introduction from our wonderful, awesome, and powerful Ma Lilian, we're going to get a word from the author. So back, what to you?
Good evening. How you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. You know what?
Please mute yourself if you're not talking. Dr. Defanta has the stage. Please mute yourselves.
Thank you. I am greatly honored to participate at this very first virtual book launch of my writing career. I wish to thank the publishers at Sears for making it possible for this work to be known. I salute the organizers for putting together such a high-profile event, the moderators for accepting to coordinate it, and the chief launchers for leading the way. And I am grateful to all the participants who have agreed to share their time with us today. Many have wondered why I chose to write the history of Bali. Well, I was partly responding to the challenge of an Oxford scholar and a friend of Bali who claims that only a speaker of Mungaka can do justice to the history of Bali. She was right, in the sense that our stories are better told by ourselves, and that our stories need to be proudly told so that our people can appropriate and live them fully. Fortunately, Bali history as a field of study is quite fascinating to research, with numerous archival entries in countries like Germany, Switzerland, England, and Nigeria. As you know, active actors in history have always attracted attention and scrutiny. And over the years, Bali Nyonga has been a very active actor in the Bamenda grass fields, raising dust and controversy in equal measure. As relative newcomers in those grass fields, the people of Bali Nyonga were the subjects of endless curiosity. Who were they? How did they get there? And how have they settled in? These are some of the questions that inform this tale of migration and settlement. They also brought many new habits, some of which have integrated the folklore of the grass fields. Stories of rampaging mounted Chamba warriors were handed down from generation to generation, while their intimate interaction with the early Europeans made it possible for Bali history to be documented. It was high time to weave all those episodes into one coherent story. It is my hope that this exercise shall reveal a little bit more about Bali Nyonga, and that this book shall kindle interest in writing the histories of other communities in Cameroon. I thank you, and I welcome you all to this lunch. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ba. Thank you so very much. And thank you for the additional insight on the book and for your source of motivation, and also for giving us opportunity to share with this wonderful publication. The next item we have on the agenda, of course, there will come a time when we'll give the floor for people to ask questions and make their own comments on what we're doing on the subject matter of today. The next point on the agenda we have here is to hear from the chief launchers. We have here by Professor Vincent Titanji of Landmark University and Professor Lega of Landmark University. I guess we'll begin with Professor Titanji. Please, you have the floor.
I think I've not been unmuted. Have you unmuted me?
We can hear you.
Okay, just give me a minute to get my text.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Mr. Moderator, distinguished author, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is my pleasure to take the floor before you on behalf of Landmark Metropolitan University Institute. The president of Landmark Metropolitan University Institute is Mr. Lega Simon, one of the illustrious sons of Bali Nyonga, who is also the chair of the board that owns the university. And I am serving there as Vice Chancellor, and both of us are going to act together in this launch. And he asked me to present his excuses because as we talk, he's on the plane flying from Lagos to UK for a matter that concerns the university. That said, let me thank the author, Bandi Fondi, for sending me a copy of the book through Professor Simon Nketi, whom I've already introduced, and who is one of the co-chief launchers on whose behalf I'm speaking. When I received the book, I immediately started to look at it, and I thought I was just going to flip. And it read so well that before I realized I had read at least 2 or 3 chapters. And later on, I looked through. I wouldn't say I studied the book, but I flipped through and got a very good impression of what it was. And the fact that I couldn't just leave my eyes from the book once I had opened to it gives you already a foretaste of how engaging this document is. I have been, having served as a Vice Chancellor of one of our foremost universities, I was advised that if you have prepared a text, you better use it rather than try to speak extemporaneously. So I will return now to my text and say Dr. Nyamdi is one of the foremost authorities on the history of Bali Chamba people, whose arrival in the western regions of Cameroon more than 150 years ago has impacted not only the history of the region, but that of Cameroon as a whole. This book is about Bali Nyonga, the Bali Nyonga Fondom, which had turned out to be the largest and the most influential of the Balis after the catastrophic split at the Battle of Bafu Fondong, where their revered leader, Gawolube II, was killed in battle. The book is therefore appropriately titled as In Search of Harmony, with a subtitle, The History of Bali Nyonga. For since the migration from their homeland in the Adamawa province and the subsequent split, generations of Bali people have experienced nostalgia for not only their beloved homeland, but for their culture, which was bound to change in the natural course of things as they traveled around and met other people. In the first 6 chapters of the book, Dr. Nyamdi retraced the history of the Bali Chamba as a united entity before turning to the split and the emergence of Bali Nyonga suzerainty. Not only does Dr. Nyamdi rely heavily on written sources from the colonial times and oral tradition, but on his enormous capacity to make inferences and reconstruct scenes like if he was a novelist and not a historian. I was intrigued by his description of the legendary Princess Nyonga, the founder of Bali Nyonga, about whose reign little has been recorded. Hear him as he writes. Although as a popular princess, she belonged to the high chamber society, she nevertheless succeeded in broadening the circle of her friends. She was so gentle and kind-hearted that she accumulated an impressive capital of sympathy. She spoke softly and was listened to. Such passages, which occur quite frequently as the narrative folds, goes a long way to make the history lively, interesting, and captivating without losing the essence. The remaining chapters describe the evolution of Bali Nyonga under its most consequential leaders, Nyong Pasi, or Fonyonga 1, Galega 2, or Galega 1, Fonyonga 2, Galega 3, and Ganyonga 3, who is currently reigning. About each of these monarchs or fons, he has written a lot, but a lot more could have been written. And maybe what was left out are subjects for future scholars. Noteworthy is the tact with which he has dealt with the troubled relationship between Bali Nyonga and its neighbors, including the riots of 1952, for which there is an extensive appendix, and the recent Bawok Bali affair. This work is political history, very much written in the spirit of his earlier treatise, The Bali Chamber of Cameroon, a Political History. As every other work of scholarship, it could not contain everything. Thus, little has been said in the book about the Leila and Voma institutions, which have been crucial for the harmony of the Bali Chamba people, though they have often been dismissed as cults. Nor has much been said about other prominent Bali Nyonga elements who worked together with the different funds to make the fondom what it is today. This notwithstanding, and the work is well researched, well written, and I enthusiastically recommend it to Balians and all those interested in the history of Cameroon. Now, before I take my seat, let me once more say that on behalf of the president of Landmark University Institute, Professor Lega, who is unavoidably absent, and me, we launched this book with 500,000 francs CFA for 100 copies. The Secretariat should send us directives on how to transfer the money. Thank you and congratulations, Band Fondi, for this wonderful work. Thank you.
Wonderful, 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 Professor Titanji. This is wonderful. We want to truly appreciate you and Landmark University for this wonderful gesture. We look forward to other participants in this book launch. By the way, we also appreciate the details that you gave. You dive into the text itself. And I was kind of scared that maybe the time will not be enough, but you were very timely. You ended at the right time, and you dive straight into the text. As an author who has also written on Bali Nyonga, you dive in there and excavated a lot of things that those who haven't read the text yet will eventually read, and they will be interested more in some of the other texts that we have out there on Bali. At this point, we'll move on to do marketing. I guess Mama Lilian and Niju will come in here. I think Landmark University, through Professor Titanji, has begun the art or the launching by buying 100 copies, I believe. And so we expect, yes, so we expect others who are on the line to do the same. And I'm going to start in a very humble way to order 5 copies for my family. I want to make sure all my children read this book. I have a copy already, by the way, but I still want to buy 5 additional copies, and I'll give 2 more to some friends of Bali who will eventually get into the text and get to know what we are really about as Bali people. So Nijut, Ma, Lilian, how do we proceed in the launching? Maybe we'll just go ahead and say anybody else who is on the launching program today and feels inspired should drop in and tell us how many copies he or she wants to procure and to buy and to send to who. You can send a copy to your family, to a friend, to a library. You can send as a gift. You can send as a surprise gift to a friend, and then put a little note on it that please read this text. Because some people may just receive the gift and they thank you, but they don't read it. So when you send the text to someone who is a friend or a family, put an additional note that the important thing is for you to read, spell read in capital letters. Please read this. One of the small ways that we try to encourage people to read in an age where reading is becoming a very distant practice in my community. So the floor is open for anyone who wants to jump in. Lilian, Nijut, if you have some additional note on this, feel free to jump in.
We have some hands raised. We have some hands. We have Bola, and after Bola will be Batita Nyonga.
Ma Bola from the great state of Michigan. Please, you have the floor.
Yes. I just ordered 5 copies from my family and I, but we're going to add an additional 5 copies and distribute to around families and friends.
Wonderful, wonderful, Ma Bola. Thank you so very much. 5
so that's a total
copies.
Of 5 for today?
A total of 10 copies, right?
Awesome.
Yes, total of 10 copies. Batita Nyonga, who has been on the line from the very beginning, patiently waiting, wants to say something. Please, Batita, you have the floor. Unmute yourself, please.
Where did he go?
He's right here. I'm seeing him.
Yes.
Somebody needs to let me talk. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I already ordered two of these books, and I read it. I read one, and I gave one, I think, to one of my brothers. So to help this launch, I'm going to order 8 more to be delivered in Cameroon to Banzi. Please deliver this to any Galega you meet in Yaoundé and tell them to distribute it to every Galega to read this book, because we are at the center of this book. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Coming from the palace itself. Batita, much, much, much appreciated. And I want to, Batita is a personal friend and brother from school. And to today, we are still very close. I want to support Batita, or support the Galigas through Batita, by adding 5 additional copies to every Galiga that the author meets in Yaoundé and beyond. The floor is still open, please.
On the chat, Ma Lilian, our moderator, is saying she would like to order 5 copies too.
Wonderful, wonderful. Mamun Lilian, all the way from the great state of Tennessee, is ordering 5 copies of the book. Thank you so very much, Mamun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The floor is still open. Who else?
To support her boss, very important.
Very important. You never go wrong by when support your boss, right?
Yes.
Very good, very good, very good. I see Mamun Thames. Man, Michigan is all over the house.
Michigan is taking over.
Michigan is taking over. All right, Mamun Thames, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, Great Lakes, we are always on top of things. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I have to also say I'm very proud of my brother-in-law, though I'm not surprised because I know he's always up to something. So on behalf of myself and my family, and as the president of Great Lakes chapter, I would like to order 20 copies for my chapter members and myself.
Wow, Ma Thames, always doing it the big way. Thank you so very much, Ma. Much, much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The floor is still open. Please order your copies, share it. Oh, Batita wants to come back.
Oh, he's clapping. He's clapping.
Oh, okay.
Batita and Bula are clapping, yes.
Excuse my
Thank you, Martins. Natima, thank you.
All right, Martins. The floor is open. Anyone else wants to get a copy or more? You have the floor.
Yes, Kadmia.
Okay.
You can unmute yourself.
Please unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi. I already have a copy, but I would like to order 5 more for my Ohio Bali people over here. So
awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful, Marcado. Thank you so
much. This is
much.
Kadmia.
Oh, sorry, Kadmia. Excuse my.
In Ohio. Marcado is in Michigan.
Oh, from the great state of Ohio. Oh,
I don't think anyone in Ohio wants to be annexed by Michigan.
Very much. Thank you, Ma. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Does Marcado want to say something?
Yes.
Okay, please.
I think her hand is raised. Yep. Go ahead.
Right. You have the floor, Marcado. Unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I already have a copy of the book, but as a younger sister to Mark Kadmia, I would like to, I know you confused us earlier, but I would like to order 5 copies also to share with my friends.
Wow, thank you so very much. Thank you, Marcado. I want to make sure I don't make another mistake. Thank you so very much, Marcado. Much, much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see that Martins wants to come back. Mamun, another 20 copies?
Oh.
You have the floor, please.
Yes, go ahead.
You hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, I just want to congratulate my big brother for a job well done. And I would like to get a copy for myself and 4 more copies. So that will be 5 copies. So I can distribute it to my own family members so they can learn more about the Bali culture. Thank you very much. And we hope that we'll advertise this as much as possible so that many people will know how the Bali people impacted Cameroon. So thank you very much, Ba.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank Pangulin Chi Batni make way. That's what. Wow, Matems. Before much appreciated. We thank you so very much for the additional 5 copies to your household. Okay, who else wants to step up? I know there are so many people here. Maybe we just start. Maybe I see some names here that I know some people here who don't joke when it comes to books. One of them is Nigella. If Nigella is still here, I apologize for calling you out. You're one person who do not only buy, but you make sure you read. I can bear testimony to that. Nigella, still on the line, please? If it's not, we still have the floor open. Maybe we have some music interlude. Nijut, Manyem, was there any prayer for some, 2 minutes of people are still reflecting, People may then get inspired with some good Makongi or some good Nchibi.
Yes,
So,
Victor.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I just wanted to say something about the marketing part. So this book is currently on sale on our website, and it's going at $20. It's discounted, $20 US, and including shipping to Cameroon for those who have ordered. We can ship it to you if you're making a donation to Cameroon. So we appreciate that. If you're in the US and you would love to purchase your copy and or copies and you want to pay, you can do so through Zelle or Cash App or PayPal or Venmo. We posted those details on the chat. If you prefer to use that payment option, simply indicate the number of copies you're ordering when you pay through Zelle or Cash App. So I just thought I should add that information to those who have either made pledges or wish to order. You can also order directly. There is a link. We'll post that link again so that everybody has access to it on the chat. That way you can simply hit and, purchasing on the website is a very simple process. If you have Apple Pay, you can just swipe, and if your address is stored on the system, you should be able to have it shipped directly to that address. For my friends who use Android, Google Pay is also there. So it's always just very simple. You would see those two options depending on your platform. So you can try it out. So Lillian, if you can post that link, if you have it handy. And I'm talking about the book link to be purchased on the website. If you prefer to simply make a pledge and then follow up by paying, please send us the payment and then let us have the address to which we should ship your copies. So thank you again for those who have bought from Michigan, from Ohio. We would need your address. So please put that on the chat and we will make sure we follow up. Okay, over to you.
Thank you.
Derek Jamokong has his hand up.
Yeah. All right, Nida, you have the floor. Please unmute yourself.
All right, Bar Moderator, thank you very much. Once more, congratulations to Bar Dr. Fondi for this wonderful piece of our history. I'm going to order 5 copies to be sent to Bar Titanji on my behalf. So I already purchased the copy. Already, I have a copy. So I want it to be sent directly to Bar Titanji.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Ni. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Who else? The floor is still open, I should say. For anyone who wants to step up and get some copies for him or herself, or for friends, for family. We have like 3 more minutes for this slot. So please, you have the floor. I know some people will be having some technical challenges to step up and speak. We have people here all the way from Bali. We have people, of course, many in Yaoundé. And I'm guessing people from Boya, the foot of Mount Fako. Of course, many more people here in the United States and probably in Europe. I see Mr. Gil Dishang, all the way from Germany. He's part of this launching today. We have quite a global gathering here. Of course, as is often the case, when it comes to books, you don't see too many people. But if you make an announcement for some kind of a party where people eat and drink, the hall will be full in less than a couple of hours. But again, that's okay. That's the way, that's our reality these days. But we still respect everybody and their likings and their interests and their persuasions. The floor is still open. We have 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. If you have to step up. And by the way, as we move forward, if this slot passes and you feel like you want to still step up back and call us back to the same item, to donate a book or to buy some copies, you are still free to do so. The next item, I
Jela
see
is
that.
saying he has problems with his sound.
Oh,
He has a copy and he's going to add 4 more copies for his family. Thank you so
Ni-
much, Nijela. Thank you.
oh, Nijela,
That's
thank you
wonderful.
so very much. I apologize again for pointing you out, but I know that you are one person who do not only buy, but you read. And I want to also say Nijela will engage the author anytime he meets him or her. This is something I
Yes.
just admire about him. He will buy, he will go home, he will read the book. When he meets you, he will ask you questions. I'm saying because I've experienced it with him personally. You know, Nijela will engage you in a conversation. So that's a very wonderful thing. And Nijela, please, if you're hearing me, if you have a way of, inspiring others to do like you do, that would be wonderful. I know for sure that Spears, myself sitting here as one of the moderators, Spears Media is not only about distributing. We want to make sure that people actually read. And we know how challenging it is to have people read. When you buy, it will be more appreciative if you actually read the book than just buying and keeping on the shelf. So thank you again very much, Nigella, and thanks to everyone else who has ordered or subscribed for copies. We look forward to hearing from more. And if you don't mind, even after this launch, if you want more copies, of course, the address has been shared on the chat link. You can always give a call to Spears Media. You can meet any of the moderators, any of the persons who are handling this today, and they'll guide you on how you can get your copy of not only this book, but many other publications that are really truly of interest and value to us that Spears Media has published and is making an effort to distribute. That said, if there's no other person stepping up, we want to go to our next item, which has to do with the book launching proper, the official book launch. Man, I need you, please. You do this section better. So I give you the floor if you want.
That is correct. Thank you, Bar Moderator. Thank you for doing such a fantastic job so far. This is where we try to celebrate this milestone. So far, we're having a really phenomenal launch. This is historic. This is the first time we've had a book launch with 100 copies from the chief launcher. So this is a big deal, and we are very, very proud of this moment. This is when we also just, ask everybody who has a copy to, leave a copy of their book if you have a copy. For those who do not have a copy, I know that you plan to buy. Simply unmute yourself. So we're going to unmute everybody. And we will also encourage you to show your face or at least clap, right? If you're not able to uh, show a copy of the book, just come to the camera and cheer and applaud for the author. We all know what it takes to produce something like this. This is no easy feat, I have to say. And so we encourage you to just, again, if you're here, we know that you want to be here, right? So if you can afford to turn on your camera and just clap for the author, we would appreciate that. And so this is when we want to do the formal ritual of celebrating the book. So we'll give everybody an opportunity to do that. And then, of course, everybody should be unmuted
Because
at
you
this
or
stage.
me.
So again, this is the moment. If you're paying attention, I know I've unmuted everybody, but please join me to congratulate Ba Defonta Nyamdi. Congratulations on the launch of this book. We are very proud of this moment, and we look forward to reading, commenting, and celebrating and learning from this wonderful, wonderful book. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
is amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
King Yamdi, congratulations.
Yes, we'll take the
That's
load.
nice. It's blushing.
Okay, so we have muted everyone just so we can proceed. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Niju. Our next item here on our agenda, I think we have music interlude from the program that we have. So please.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
So we'll take a brief moment if people want to stretch their legs, bathroom break, whatever. We'll take about 3 to 4 minutes. We'll play some music and people can take a break. Right? See you guys soon.
Yawe chambonbu wafanu bombo jambwango chambo majingo yonga nkachume njoba nilumbo banfeba it can only be better if we start together. The minority choose to see when you fire doom but you can see winti mayo viva binuka bombanika fan kamwe yapti bonin jona era majanja jotula binin tam tam peace in every congregation the year of reconciliation. Oh love, let it rain, let it rain. Oh peace, let it rain, let it rain. Basamgonge sungaka oh sungaka yela bakungonge sungaka sungaka ngonyonga la bongo mavi wa fanbungu nikobe yela basamgonge sungaka oh sungaka yela bakungonge sungaka sungaka ala bibon bajobo yai ha bajobo yai bana baba biga bongo yai ha. Now it's time for peace, unity, love, and young is the key. This is the land we are planning to build. Now I'm fellow kitty to my face. Sample netting, I'm a sentence and thing of a bumpty, but my bumpty, one santi, one the bumpty, kitty no fellow, but on the true. Sungaka, oh, Sungaka, Yela Bachini, Chuni, Sungaka, 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 oh, Sungaka, God bless Bali Nyonga.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, is Mama Lilian here with us?
Yes, she's still here.
Oh, okay. So, Mamun, I understand you. I'm sorry, I don't, hold on.
Reading of a passage from the book. This is the section where we're going to have two people read, who have read the book.
Yes.
Yes.
So, as is tradition in our book launch event, we usually, at some point, give a chance to one or two people to read extract from the textbook, just to have the audience have a foretaste of what to expect when they start reading the book itself. So we're going to listen to two readers. The first on the program is Tita Nyonga, Galiga, Bachita, you have 2 minutes to read your extract of the textbook. Thank you. Unmute yourself. Unmute. Bachita, unmute yourself. You are still on mute.
Okay.
Okay, you're good.
Now it's been unmuted. So I'm going to be reading from page 100, page 115, and ending in page 116 for those who have the book. And the reason I chose this section of the book was because, in my view, it still captures quite brilliantly the harmony that we, as that the author is trying to put together for, to try to connect Bali from where we came and where we are going. And I chose this chapter secondly because it's a chapter that references Gallagher the second, which happens to be my father. And also I wanted to pay tribute to him because this year in September would mark 40 years since he departed. So I wanted to just highlight that. So here we go. The encounter of February 1978 was tumultuous. The Bali Community Hall came down when the minister disingenuously thanked the people for magnanimously offering the demarcated land to their estranged neighbors. Gallagher responded by affirming his position on the matter, that the government was free to allocate any land it wished to whoever he chose, but it could not be said that the Bali people had offered their land to anybody, because they would never do such a thing. On that principle, Gallagher II had based his reign. On it, the people of Bali Nyonga have always stood. The meeting ended in total confusion, and the decree of 1977 slipped into a stalemate that outlived Gallagher himself. On 18 September 1985, a lingering illness finally got the better of the aging Fon, ending his 45-year reign and closing a remarkable chapter in the history of Bali Nyonga. His passing was like the fall of a mighty baobab, leaving a gaping hole in the traditional forest of the Bamenda grass fields. And he was fittingly mourned, not only by his orphan kinsmen, but by sympathizers from around the country and even beyond. For several months, tribute poured into Bali. The government hailed his outstanding contribution to the development of the nation. Solomon Tandek Muna, the meta icon of the day, saluted his dynamic contribution to the struggle for the independence of Cameroon. From abroad, Professor Elizabeth Shiva of Oxford glowingly eulogized him. The peaceful transition to independence owes a great deal to his tact, powers of persuasion, and personal integrity. He was a very generous-hearted ruler, often in the face of severe obstruction and provocation, and he never allowed personal consideration to obscure his vision of the future. As a ruler, Gallagher too always worried about the future, often contemplating the transition towards it. And as he aged, he yearned for stability in the kingdom. He took steps to ensure that when it came his succession, there should when his succession came, He took steps to ensure that when it came, his succession should not be as disputed as his had been. And for the first time in Bali history, the throne changed hands without incident. So that's a part that touched me personally, and it was just fitting for me to pay tribute to that part of this book, which my family and the entire people of Bali are remembering this year, marking 40 years of his departure. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Batita. Much, much appreciated. I think that passage you just read is very self-transcending, and we do appreciate the fact that you sorted that out to share with the listenership or the audience this afternoon. The next reader will be Mamon Lilian, I believe. Yes, Mamon Lilian, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. And thank you, Tita Nyonga, for that passage and reading it, bringing sentiments and taking us back into history. And that was lovely. On the other hand, I chose something about the greatness of Bali. It's war, not because I love war, but because I am always elated by anything about our fandom and its greatness. And it's a good thing, even though, we say we pat ourselves on the back and stay on our laurels, but no, Bali people are a very genuine people and unique in their own way. So I chose from chapter 4, page 37. I go way back in history. Also because some of the actors here are also part of my lineage. And so I look at the consolidation of the fandom. The expansion of the realm of Bali Nyonga was a mutual sequel of their settlement. It was carried out with purpose and speed, meeting little resistance because they were much better equipped in arms and experience than any of their opponents. That expansion was the work of Gallagher I, a larger-than-life figure with larger-than-life ambitions. Gallagher I came to power under the sort of circumstances that breed legends. Bali Nyonga had just suffered humiliation from Pinyin, and the heartbroken for Nyonga I had died as if by delayed action. Then Gallagher arrived, bringing youth and vitality to a weary and languid people. He began his reign with reassuring certainty. His devastation of Pinyin worked miracles on the morale of his people, but he refused himself any complacency. He was convinced that the destiny of Bali Nyonga as an important kingdom could only be achieved at the price of more sacrifice. He was ready to make that sacrifice and to summon the same from his people. Gallagher launched a vast program of arms procurement and a sweeping reform of the military structures, time, and environment. But Gallagher was a man of superlatives. He entered the arms market with a rousing appetite, stockpiling Dane guns and other weapons brought in from the coast and from the north through the Benue River trade routes. The exact size of his arsenal was never published, but the Germans estimated upon arrival in 1889 that the Bali Nyonga were in possession of at least 2,000 Dane guns. For a neighborhood where most villages were fewer than 2,000, all told, that was a formidable force indeed. Gallagher turned his attention next to the structure and tactics of his army. The Balikumbat invasion, which forced him out of Kufum and exposed many of the shortcomings of the Bali Nyonga army. No longer a migrant, offensive army who struck at will and moved on, Bali Nyonga now was a settled force with territory to defend. This new development prompted Gallagher to increase pragmatism in his approach to war. He had inherited an army composed essentially of two parts: the Fon's personal following or Benfon and the following of the Fonto, which Fonyonga I had reorganized into Manjongs. Gallagher I streamlined his organization still further. He reduced the Benfon to a select bodyguard of retainers and then grouped the rest of his personal following into a new lodge called Ndanji. What a history. What a history of achievement. Now, I'm just going to have to turn into our language because this white man language doesn't cut it for me. I have to speak in Bali at some point, and I know my name and Professor Fokwang, I know you all did not have this on your program, but I have to speak in Mongaka. I have to. Bin babumbang o bin dindi abofa biye yombumbe bi yu mum foyin. Nje kabua organize bona. Bon tibi abo chunu bendindi bi tenchwa chignikun. Banzi, thank you so much for this collection of history. Thank you so much. And please distribute these books to all your inner circles. Let them read what Bali used to be. We're not just noisemakers. We actually governed and controlled a huge portion of what you call today Cameroon. We controlled a huge portion. Now, don't ask us about where we are today. Yes, we are a tiny piece of land in the Northwest province, and we make a whole lot of noise for a whole lot of good reasons. Read this book. I encourage you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bandy.
Thank you
so for the benefit of those who don't understand Mongaka, Lilian was saying, challenging the Bali men of today, whether they can be as strong and do what Gallagher did in his time. They can carry guns and do the things that he did in his time to consolidate the land. This is Gallagher one.
I mean, there's a simple phrase that they know the Bali people about Ndikangaya. That's a simple phrase which everybody knows. They say Bali people, Bali people they don't have witchcraft. They don't do any other thing. It is always Ndikangaya. Anything that happens to a Bali man, the first thing is Ndikangaya. So it comes from our history.
Thank you.
Wow, Mama Lilian, nobody else could have done that in a better way. Thank you so very much for adding the flair and the all what we expected on this particular slot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're moving now to our next item on the agenda, which has to do with book giveaway.
Yes.
Need you, Ma Lilian.
Yes.
I'm sure you know.
So I put a link in the chat. Yeah. Everybody, please click on that link to participate. It's going to be a fun quiz. And through that, we get to know a bit more about the author, but also about the book. Some fun things about Bali Nyonga history, which we all need to know. So please click on that link and we will see you on there. And I'm just going to check to see if anybody has joined. I see 2 people. So more, please use your name. There's a chance to win 2 books, free books from Spears. Good. The first prize is going to be Paradise of Love, Loss and Pain by Kebuma Langmia, Professor Kebuma Langmia. And then we also have a book by Reverend Ochan, A Wealth of Wisdom, a book of Proverbs. That will go for our second prize winner. So 5 people have joined so far. Any more?
Can you share your screen?
I will shortly.
Okay.
I was just monitoring to see who has joined. Then I will share my screen. 6 people, okay. Looks like some people keep dropping. If you're having, are you having any problems joining? If not, you can just see what is on the screen, menti.com.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a whole compound. So you have the garden, you have, I mean, like space, you have.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we have 5 people. I think we can proceed instead of waiting. It's of time. And so with this quiz, you have to answer with speed and accuracy, okay, to get more points. Which sport did Dr. Defonta play at school? Take a guess, 5 seconds left.
Oh my gosh. I think.
Let's see, 3 people got that right. Good job.
Yeah, I used to only 2 for mine.
Okay. Let's see the 3 people. Katmia got it right. Derry got it right. Marian got it right. Who got it fastest? Katmia. Well done.
I'm coming. Why someone packing?
All right, second question.
Wait, I'm coming, Papa.
In 1971, he was the first Cameroonian to score an A in which GCA level subject?
Maybe math. I think I failed it. You love yourself out.
6 people.
Oh my God.
It's English.
Okay.
So they are
In
giving us
English. Yes.
It's English. I failed it. Man.
I bet you didn't know that, did you?
It's part of the deadline to write.
Oh. But I got that. Lilian is now the lead. Okay, you know your boss. Good. Next question.
Copy the answer somewhere.
Next question. Answer fastest. When was his first book, The Bali Chamber of Cameroon, published?
Shoot.
Oh, published.
If you know, you know. And if you don't know, you're about to find out. 4 people got that right, 1988.
What on earth?
It's first book.
And let's see who got it right. Need Derek. Need Derek seems to have got the most points. He got it fastest. Good job, Need Derek. But Lilian is still in the lead. Other players, don't give up. There's still more questions. You can redeem yourself. Who is the longest reigning fawn of Bali Nyonga?
Hey, God. This one I won't know.
Take a while.
I just press the asking questions in the book. Oh. This one really good.
Oh. 3 people got it right. 3 people have for Nyonga. Let's see the 3.
When the concentration.
But you should have gotten this the fastest.
I'm out. That's right.
Need Derek. Awesome. Good job, Need Derek. Okay, next question.
Everybody's been unmuted, but we encourage only those who are participating in the quiz to talk. If you are not participating in the quiz, please just mute yourself.
One artifact in Bali Nyonga culture dates back to the days of Gawobe. What is it? Oh, wow. We have
This one was a pure guesswork on my part.
How can it be guesswork, Mamon?
just to guesswork.
It's not guesswork. You know.
Good.
All right.
Pingu
Good for you.
has joined and is jumping up.
Some
You,
people,
Derek, is so
some people they
fastest.
give you
Well done,
cartouche.
you, Derek.
Yeah, people have cartouche.
I'm suspecting that Ma Lilian had cartouche.
No doubt about that.
Just read.
Read and remember.
That's right.
Okay. The Presbyterian Church and Town Farm in Bali is the oldest church house in the grassfield. When was it built?
Hey, my thing has app has disappeared.
Your cartouche has disappeared.
Oh my God.
Is that the equivalent of the dog ate my homework?
Who did that? I know.
So your cartouche.
Where?
Everybody got it
You see?
wrong.
Uh-oh.
Nobody got that right?
I didn't even respond.
Yes.
I didn't even respond because my app
The
disappeared.
church and
I
the
just
town
got
farm
back
was
on.
built in 1914.
You know what? 1913.
I believe that was the
Imagine.
completion, right? But Banyamdi. The foundation stone was late 1903. Yeah, he's confirming
1903 is
that.
not here.
That's the completion of the church. Awesome.
Okay.
Dang.
The leaderboard hasn't changed.
Dang.
Good. I don't pin one.
What happened to your cartouche?
Anybody who was messing my stuff up, I don't pin one.
You don't pin them.
After the 1952 riots,
Over
Bali Nyonga was
Gangsai.
paid £9,000 for damages. What was the money used for? If you've read the book, you'll have a hint.
I think it was for the palace.
Oh, I messed it.
It was used to get pipe bomb water for the Bali
Yes.
Nyonga community.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
That's
Nkaji, my jam. Oh Lord. My jingwani le.
I didn't even see that optional.
Let's see who got it right. Need Derek. Awesome.
Che.
But
Yeah,
culture, you're defending your title.
Derry don't pass me.
Bar culture is, he's really defending his title as bar culture.
Wow. Amazing.
Hey, it's a good teamwork, back culture. We are winning it for us.
True or false, the pretext for the first Bali Nyonga war was matrimonial problems. This one is either true or false.
Where is my app again?
Mama, and your cartouche is not working. Just say your
I'm
cartouche
telling you,
is
this
built.
is just messed up. Oh gosh.
Malia, what was your answer? Say your answer out. Let's hear.
True.
Oh my world. This is
So
not working out.
After you can see it on the screen, you say true.
No, I didn't even look at the screen. My app was not working.
All right. Where? I shall.
God, the only person who got it right, it still doesn't change your position, unfortunately.
Mamon, it looks like somebody pins you instead.
Yes, they don't pin me.
They don't pin you on the ground.
Okay, we have 2 more questions left. Dr. Defonta earned his PhD from?
All right, give me the schools, I'll tell you.
Everyone has voted. Oh man, that was fast.
Yep. I couldn't wait. Anyway, they pin me.
Everybody knew this one. It was that easy. Awesome.
Who was fastest?
Bola got that right. Pingu got that too.
One person, only Ma Lilian. That's it.
Bola got it fastest.
If I
You have
pass,
been
you
doing
don't
a
miss,
fine job.
I suspected it.
Final question. Get set. Last chance. The 2 flags used at the annual Lila Festival represent what?
Yay.
Malia, what's your answer?
That's right. Correct is my answer. Bali Nyonga and Kontan.
I was hoping to overtake you, but
Good job,
Right.
Bola. Good job.
You did.
I think we have a winner. Need
I
Derek.
know. That's right.
Awesome. Congratulations, Need Derek.
thank you.
We have really defended.
Need Derek won it for us.
Yes.
Ngayo.
Sa ulong kwenchung, ulong kwenchung,
Chama si mafamu
ulong kwet. Ulong kwet ngambala mungwi labue.
Ngayo.
Ulong kwet anchung.
Kubo Bache.
So Need Derek wins a copy of Professor Kebuma Langmia's book, Paradise of Love and Pain. And Ma Lilian, you win a copy of Reverend Forchan's book of Proverbs, A Wealth of Wisdom.
And all the participants will earn our applaud.
Wow,
and all the participants earn our applause, honorable mentions. Awesome.
Man.
Thank you for participating.
Need Derek back culture, like we say, a woman should. So, yeah, to have won that speaks a lot to why you are our back culture. All right. Thanks so very much. We are moving on to our next item on the agenda, which has to do with marketing time part 2. Again, Ma, Lilian, I need you. I think you know how to handle this. That's the last but one item on the agenda. After that, we'll go to question and answers. That's really the most, one of the most interesting items we have today will come after this one. Need you, Ma, Lilian.
Right. So thank you, bar moderator. We appreciate what you're doing so far. Mamon Lilian, thank you. For all those who participated in the quiz, we are really grateful for your presence here and for your participation. So thank you once again. I think you all enjoyed the reading. That was really just kind of a teaser, right? For those who would be interested in reading the whole piece. Those who do not know, I think we have a reading a reading club for this book. I think Mamon Lilian will share more about that. Ma Lilian, not Mamon Lilian. She will share more about it soon. But this is an opportunity for those who have joined us maybe more recently. I'm just looking at the program here, and this is just a reminder that the book is currently on sale. For those who have placed their orders, we will be fulfilling them as soon as possible. For those who are yet to place their order, that's fine. We look forward to them. For those who have pledged, we expect your payment and the address if you're not shipping to Cameroon. But let us know if you're shipping to Cameroon, and we will, of course, handle that on your behalf. Yeah. Ma Lilian, you have anything to add?
No, not much. So we have copies available. If you want to support the author, please order from our website, which we shared the link to that earlier. Amazon is convenient, I know, for everybody, but know that if you order from Amazon, it doesn't really support the author because Amazon takes a huge cut from each order you place on their website. So please order from our website. Make use of that promotional discount we have going on now. Order for yourself, order for members of your meeting, your DACU. A lot of people in the Grassfield region know about Bali Nyonga, and you would hear from other ethnic groups that talk about what the Balis did and how they came. But this is one resource that you can buy and let people read and know about those Bali Nyonga people that they've heard about so much, how they came to be in the Grassfield and the influence they had in the region. So please make use of that opportunity. I can speak for myself and many others who grew up in Cameroon and went to school and studied European history. We studied Russo-Prussian War and, you know, about Italian explorers and things that have nothing to do with me. And today we are blessed that we have someone who has written about our history. I could have been reading about the Mancon War or the Bali Bafu War or the Bali Kumbat War. It's all here. And that would have served me better than learning about Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, let me publicly
Manu,
sympathize.
very true.
Sympathize for you. The torture you went through reading about
very
15th
true,
century
Babu,
European
yeah.
history.
By the way, I learned more about snow than I did about mud when I was in secondary school. You know, from poetry, from short stories, from plays, from novels. I learned more about snow. I knew more about snow than I knew about mud that I was more familiar with when I was growing up in Bali. So this man, I appreciate you bringing that up because it makes me a bit really uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, but mixed feeling. You are in a kind of crossroads that you find yourself in. You know, we learn about Napoleon Bonaparte, about the 1789 French Revolution. But look at what Bali Nyonga did to be where it is today. And by the way, just a little diversion, which is a bit personal. When I introduce myself in any context, I say I'm from Bali. When somebody asks which Bali, I say, when I say I'm from Bali, do I have to explain? Anybody who explains, give him or her the chance to explain. I'm a Bali man. When I say I'm from Bali, no more explanation. Anybody else who is explaining should go ahead and explain when he or she introduces him or herself. You know, that's part of the, part of the prestige, part of the heritage, part of the pride that we have as Bali people. And I remember back in the late 90s, introducing myself in the British Council during a certain event. And somebody asked, where are you from again? I said, I'm from Bali with no apology. The whole hall busted laughing. Why do you say with no apology? I said, I'm from Bali. Somebody said, which Bali? What do you mean? I'm from Bali. There are not two Balis. Are there more than one? Is there more than one Bali? That kind of conversation, and maybe sometimes it sounds a bit overboard and a bit more like trying to be too hegemonic and all that, but that's just part of what we are as a people. I would like to just give 2 additional minutes for anybody who feels inspired to get additional books or to just get a copy of this book. Give to a friend, give to a family, give to a colleague or whoever. 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes. Please, the floor is open.
While we are at it, I should just say you can also go to the link on our website and rate this book. If you think the book is deserving of 5 stars, go ahead and rate it. That would also be one way to show your support to the author. So please, I believe that link is on the website. It's actually on the chat. Ma Lillian has just posted it. So click that link. If you're not ordering, go to the section where they say reviews and give it 5 star and maybe post a comment or 2 if you think the book is deserving of 5 stars. I personally think it is deserving of more than 5 stars. So go ahead and do that. Yeah. So the moderator has given us 2 minutes for additional orders.
Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
You can also order for libraries, school libraries in Cameroon. This book really deserves to be read in schools and taught in schools. So order and make sure that younger generation of Cameroonians don't go through and suffer like I did, learning about Napoleon Bonaparte and King James and the stewards of England. Read about great kings like Fonyonga 1, Galega 1, Fonyonga 2. So please, please, please get copies and read about our own history. It's quite fascinating to read. I can tell you that. A few years ago, I read the autobiography of the late Fonangwafo of Bankon, and he did not have a nice things to say about Bali people. Because, but then when you read this history, you understand why, right?
Yeah.
The kind of history that they have and the tensions that Bali people brought when they came to the region. It's quite interesting. So we are really fortunate that we have someone who has done the depth of the research that Banji Fota has done with this book. And we are living in a time that we can read this and actually have an opportunity to ask him questions. And it's quite a privilege that we're all here today and we have that opportunity. So thank you all. Make the most of the opportunity. I think we're coming up with Q&A now, moderator.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me clarify something before you
go.
This has to do with a question that Batita asked. So if you would like to donate books to Cameroon, just send us the money. Send us the money for the number of copies, and we will order that print and send the copies to Cameroon on your behalf. So skip the website because you would not be you don't have the address to which we are sending the print copies to. So instead of using that platform, simply send us the money and indicate and say, this purchase or this donation is for delivery in Cameroon. And then we will handle the rest for you and we'll inform you once those books get to Cameroon. So I should clarify that.
That's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to again seize the floor to not as a moderator, but as a participant here this afternoon to order additional copies of this book, because I'm inspired more each time Lilian speaks, because I do remember a lot about my GCE, ordinary and advanced levels. There's a question that kept ringing in our minds when we were in the high school back in the very, very early 90s. That we used to prepare for the GCE. You know how we used to read and spend the whole night reading back in CPC in those days. And there's a famous GCE question that kept coming up when we were preparing for the GCE. It went something along the line, Charles I was consistently inconsistent, discuss. Charles I, one of the kings of England back in the 16th century. Charles I was consistently inconsistent, discuss. We can replace that Charles I with either a Gallagher, a Fonyonga, or a Gallagher. And that will be subjected to the same kind of scrutiny and conversation that we had when we were in the high school.
Indeed.
I'm just trying to provide an additional footnote to what Malilian has been said repeatedly, because it rings in my mind so much that I cannot afford not to share some of this. But I'll move on to share or order additional copies. I'm not sure about the number of copies, but I want to add more copies of this book each. And this is just being very unpolitical. I'm just trying to be, open-minded, to share knowledge. We want to know how many villages surround Bali Nyonga. Let's send a copy to each frondom that is a neighbor of Bali Nyonga. I apologize for that. I'll be wrong if I make a suggestion or I make a speculation. But each frondom that is a neighbor to Bali Nyonga will send a copy of this book to the frondom so that it goes straight there. And then I'm going to be able to send, of course, I'll pay for all my copies separately. That's what I'm saying, not as a moderator. Coming back to my moderator position, I want to again thank everyone for a wonderful session this afternoon. Our next and last point on the agenda is the most exciting, usually in the previous book launches that we've had, where we say, hey, ask me any question, ask the author any question that you have. Open discussion. Question, it may be a comment, you can make a comment. You can make, an observation, that's also welcome. You can ask whatever question that you have regarding the book or what might have inspired you about the book. Just ask the question that you got. So the floor is open and the author is right here. This is a privilege to have the author himself here, because one of the critics in theory and practice in writing he makes a very powerful statement when he said they're talking about the importance of the author and the text. And he says, in quote, the writer has died, long live the critic. Meaning that when the writer finishes his or her job, he's done. Whatever the critic is saying is the critic's own opinion. And remember, a text like this can be subjected to multiple different interpretations. You just never know who is reading, from where he or she is coming from. We can never tell. But we have a chance this afternoon with the author himself here. I would like to listen to, comment, questions to him, question to, to the forum, generally speaking. So right from now, it's 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time. The floor is open. We had 30 minutes for this particular item. And I want to hope that Nijut and Malida will give us that same 30, because I know we are a bit running over our time, but this is very important. So let's give it a chance. The floor is open. Please, questions.
We're doing well with time, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
can devote the 30 minutes to this slot. Again, use the hand gesture for those who have comments or questions. Use the hand gesture at the bottom of your screen. Has their hand up yet. Let me begin by just inviting the author to share a little bit with us. He said something about an Oxford scholar inviting him to write the story of Bali Nyonga. Can he shed some light on this? Tell us a little bit more about this friend of Bali, Elizabeth Shilver, and your interaction with her.
He's on mute.
Yeah, please unmute. We can't hear you. Unmute.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good.
Okay. Yes, I went to the University of Oxford in 1981 to do some research on my thesis that I was doing in London at the time. And I bumped into this lady, an elderly lady, who actually walked up to me in the library and asked me where I came from. And I said, Cameroon. And she said that, are you from Bali? And to my surprise, really, I was. And then we began this lengthy conversation. And she told me that she had been to Bali several times between 1960 and 1963 and had done a lot of work in Bali, but that only somebody from Bali can actually write the history of Bali Nyonga that would reflect the type of truth that she would have wanted to reveal. So that stayed with me. And when I finished my work in London, I decided to begin the research in London itself, visiting the libraries and visiting some of the schools there before I went further afield to complete research on the work.
Batita has his hand up. Over to you.
Bafundi, thank you so much for the time to come and share this book with us. We've been really enjoying the work that you've done to, to connect us with our history, with our ancestry. And we are very grateful and thankful that, we have the chance to talk to you and ask you some questions. I I know you have done quite a bit of research about our history as a people, and I just wanted to find out from you, what is the one thing or that has kept, successive generations of Bali people together, pertaining to their leadership and to the structure that binds them together. What's the theme, and do you think there is a threat to this, to whatever has been keeping us from our beginning until today?
Bali Nyonga as a fandom grew out of its existence as part of a military structure. In the time of Gawalbe, the entire kingdom was actually a moving army, for which the leader, or the Fon as it became later on, was the supreme commander. And that led to a situation where there needed to be absolute loyalty to the commander of the armed force, which was the Fon. We have come down now with that situation to a situation where in Bali in particular, there is absolute loyalty to the person of the Fon, to the office of the Fon. And that is one of the centralizing features of our polity, as it were, to enable us to be that closely held together. And we were helped by the fact that along the line, we had some very powerful personalities who were Fons of Bali, and who had very long reigns. I think the shortest of them would have been 27 years or so. And if you have a Fon who reigns for half a century, as was the case of your father, for example, it would be difficult in the course of that long a reign for any opposing or countervailing forces to come alive. So I think these are some of the ideas that enabled us to stay that focused and to stay together. Finally, our position, our location, where we are, which is surrounded by people who initially were not very friendly to us, forced the people of Bali to stay together and to be able to constitute a community by themselves.
Thank you very much, Ba. Great insight. Very great insight. Very great insight. Anyone else? Question? Oh, Baita, do you have a follow-up question? Please unmute.
Victor, you muted yourself.
We can't hear you.
Oh, I did? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, but well, thank you so much for that. I also asked about do we have anything that is threatening that hegemony right now as a people? Do we have any reasons for being concerned? Now, I know that we are still, I have a friend from Bafochu. He tells me that he always calls me that we are strangers in that land. So I know for a fact that we are still a people who are envied by our neighbors, for lack of a better term. But is there anything within or without Bali that we should worry about? Keeping this legacy that we have held for this long.
Some time ago, I was speaking to a General Assembly of Bandeka, and it occurred to me that the greatest enemy of the Bali man is not the neighbor or the foreigner, it is the Bali person himself. Because by nature, we are a very proud people by nature. We are a very competitive people by nature. And when you bring together these two aspects of human life, there comes in an item of envy and jealousy, which is detrimental to the progress of the community as a whole. And I think the sooner we cure that amongst ourselves, the better.
Thank you.
Wow, that's very powerful. Thank you so much. Done so much by any other question or comment? Please, the floor is open.
Julia,
Yeah, I think we do have friends of Bali here as well. And I know we are very, very lucky to have a history of Bali Nyonga. Not a lot of other kingdoms have the luxury of authors, trained historians, academics who can take the time to write a history of their people as we have. So we are very blessed. I wonder if you have questions, remarks to people who are interested in writing their own histories, but also what lessons we can learn, because I know there was a Bali History Society that is now defunct. What lessons can others learn from what you have accomplished? I'm thinking about the Com, the Nso, including our neighbors, because we don't really have widely circulated publications from those groups, and those are some very major kingdoms in the grasslands.
I think the greatest impetus that we had in having our history written was our early encounter with the white man. The white man has a better culture of keeping records and documents than the average or the early Africans did. So they records of events and happenings around us, and to try to remember those that for which there weren't immediate records. So much so that if you go to most of the colonial archives in Britain, in Germany, and so on, the entries that you would have about Bali would be far more numerous than entries that you would have about areas of the grass fields where the white man did not settle or where he did not settle early. And that gave us a starting advantage in being able to write this history. Also, we have had leaders who have been interested in us preserving our own history. In fact, the idea of von Galiga II creating the Bali History Committee, as it was at the time, goes to show his love of the history of our land and his desire to collect and preserve it, and that has been very, very helpful to us. In fact, Mrs. Silva that I met in London, that we referred to, was one of the interviewers during all the time of the Bali History Committee. She was doing that together with one of her colleagues who came with her to Cameroon, Mrs. Cabri. And the Fon himself was the chairman of the committee, and the Fon's clerk, Mr. A.W. Daiga, was the secretary of the committee. And they worked for 3 years trying to gather information about Bali history and culture. Thank
you. That's really wonderful, wonderful to hear. Good. Any other question or comment? The floor is still open. I see Bola Okwe. Please, you have the floor. Thank you.
All right. So my question to Bafondi was, did you face any challenges while writing about sensitive or sacred aspects of our culture, for example, our fun or the palace? And also, how did you maneuver that with balancing it with storytelling and history accuracy?
Okay, let me begin with the second part of the question. How we balance storytelling with historical accuracy. I think you begin the research by getting the facts. It is after you have got the facts that you can now tell the story. So you begin with the historical accuracy to get all the facts correct. And then when you do that, you can now narrate what those facts relate. You can now narrate the story of the facts. So that is how we went about it. And as to whether we faced any challenges, there was some reticence in certain quarters. There are areas of our culture that are not open to public investigation. For example, there are certain structures, certain societies, certain calls of the realm in which non-initiates are not allowed. I had the extra advantage that I went through the Fon, and the Fon of Bali, Galgat II at the time, did me the favor of inviting most of the people I needed to speak to, and encouraging them to talk to me and to say as much as I was ready to ask them. So in that way, I don't think I had that much challenge as one would have expected. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much again. Samjela, Miss Samjela Defonta, your hand is up. Please, you have the floor.
The mic.
I can't hear him. Oh dear.
Looks like he's got an issue with his sound.
Yeah.
Samjala, we cannot hear you.
Unmute him, let's see.
He is unmuted, but there's an issue with his sound.
That's Chacho.
Can you try talking? Let's see if your sound issues have been resolved. Nis Samjala, can you hear me?
Angry smile.
Okay. Looks like he's struggling with his sound. There is a question in the chat. So while he's sorting that out, Tita Nyuga asked, why was the Bali History Society dissolved? I don't know if it was dissolved. Can you comment on that?
No, it wasn't dissolved as such, but the Mrs. Chilva and Mrs. Phyllis Cabri, who were actually like the engines of the committee, went back to Britain, and there was nobody to take up the responsibility. So the thing just naturally died down.
That makes sense. And I think it's high time that we revive something like that.
Absolutely.
It should be a permanent structure, and I think this should be true for all the kingdoms. They should all have a history society within their structures.
Exactly.
So they can continuously document their history for posterity. I think it's a very important thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Nijot. I'm agreeing with you on that because ultimately, like I indicated earlier, all what we do or not do, none is as important as documenting, preparing for the future, preparing for when we'll not be here. What we'll be looking back at is thanks to documents like this, books like this, that they will say, okay, there's some history, there's some piece of information here that we can use and then move forward with. So I'm just corroborating what you just said. It's important that we have that kind of a structure, not only in Bali Nyonga fandom, but in other fandoms as well, because ultimately it's about humanity. Once you assume the role of writing as a writer, it's not always about you, the author, or even you, the particular audience that you are interested in. All right, it's wider. You never know what the audience will become tomorrow. You never know what the impact of that book. In fact, I commented not too long ago in an event. I said when Shakespeare was writing, nobody even knew him. He was not even known in Strapon upon Avon. Nobody knew who Shakespeare was. But you cannot speak about writing and literature today without the name Shakespeare. It will not be complete. So basically, what we're doing, this kind of initiative, it's just a wonderful, wonderful. People don't see it now, but history will have it in record, and it will be appreciated in a much more better way than it can ever be appreciated today that we are. So I think Ni Samjala was about to speak. I don't know whether he has whether we can hear him now or not. Ni, are you with us now? Can we hear you?
He's still struggling with his sound, but there is a question in
There's
the
a question
chat.
on the chat. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's from Faye Defonta, and he said he knows your work is historic. Bali is a very historic kingdom in the Northwest, but if you could compare with the history of another fandom, which would you compare it to?
If we were to compare the history of Bali to the history of another fandom, I would be tempted to compare it with the history of the Bamun fandom, because that is a history about which a lot has been written. The Bamums have had a lot of indigenous historians write about their their fandom, and they have been able to maintain that history over the years. I mean, they have got to the extent that their own Lela, which they call the Ngon, is now has been registered under UNESCO. You know, so they have been able to preserve their history in a way that even we haven't done so yet, but hopefully would be able to pursue that in that direction.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Question, comment?
One question for Bar Fondi. We do have a few Bali historians. I hope some of them are still here. What areas would you recommend for the younger generation of Bali historians to focus on as you pass on the torch to that generation?
I think there is still a lot to complete on what we are doing now. We listened to the comments of Professor Titanji earlier on, and there were a few areas that he thought that we should be able to explore. So I think younger Bali historians, they would have this work as a basis to work on, and then from it they can branch to, I mean, the sky really is the limit as to what they can do, because we can now take individual or smaller pieces of Bali itself and investigate into them so that we bring out a fuller and a more detailed picture of the history of Bali.
Wow, thank you so very much. I want to just add that I don't think Bar is handing a mantle yet. I suspect that something is still coming up. It's because, by the way, it's amazing for me to sit here and still see him talk looking younger than, looking younger than one would expect. So there's still a lot. I suspect there's still something coming up. So we can't say his hand. I don't think is, handing the mantle. Maybe some other time, maybe not now. That's just my suspicion. We're still looking forward to him as a resource. If beyond the book, he's very affable. As I indicated when we were doing prep for this launching, I said I visited him in his house right in Wolsing to talk about Spears Media and what we're doing, and so the things that we're looking forward to, and I we thought he could be part of the team in one way or the other as an author or member, and so my thinking is that there's still a lot that we expect from you, Bandi, and I'm very sure and certain that it's going to be coming up. I saw Nisama is finally finding his way back. Please, if you can, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if everybody can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay, I had issues with my phone. I was on my phone and I switched to my laptop. So I have less of a question and more of just an appreciation to Bafondi for compiling this historical book and sharing it with the rest of us. I went to school in CPC as well, and we didn't learn much about Bali in CPC, you would imagine. So for Bafon, for just compiling this and making this accessible to the rest of us, I think is very, very good, and we're very grateful for it.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Nisama. Very much appreciated. Much appreciated. Mr. Martin Juban, one of the crew members here in Spears. I'm so excited to see him here today. Please, Mr. Jumba, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I have my two grandchildren here who have been in and out of my room, and I've not been able to follow this very keenly. Grandparenting is not always very easy, but I want to congratulate the writer, Dr. Nyamdi. I don't believe we have met before. If we have, I don't remember. But You've done a great job. I ordered a copy of your book. I think it's still on the way. I would have liked, I don't know whether anyone has asked you this question. As I say, I've been in and out of here, running after my children. But I'm from Southland, and you know, I was wondering if there has been any kind of cooperation between historians of the Northwest region in any way. You from Bali, or you know, some from Mancon and so on. I heard Lillian talking about the fun of Mancon, who's written a book on the history of Mancon. And you know, has there been any synergy, any connection, any work together with the historians of the Northwest region? Because there must be very many similarities, I believe.
Unfortunately, there hasn't been any in an official capacity. We do relate among ourselves on an individual basis. I am very close to Professor Vekitika Fangso, for example, with whom he was one of the readers of my last book that was just released by Spears. And he actually was my teacher when I was in the Department of History at the University of Yaoundé. And I also worked with Professor, the late Professor Chem Langi in the Department of History. So we have had interactions more on personal basis than on any than within any organized structure. As you say, it would be a good idea for us to exchange notes and to exchange experiences, and why not probably to be able to come together to write something, because we can have proper inputs from different scholars around the region to be able to get a better story of our region outside.
For sure. All right. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your book, sir. You're doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Any other question or comment? It looks like there's something on the chat link. Lillian,
Oh, no, it was just a correction to Mr. Jumbam, that the book he bought was the one on the plebiscite. It's not this one. No, yeah, I had a question about it takes a lot, right, to research and write this. And I wanted to ask about the kind of access you had in terms of archives, what challenges there are with accessing archival material, because that's one of the challenges we have, right? Since a lot of our history is not documented, the kind of resources that you were able to access and the kind of challenges you overcame in order to be able to come up with this. That could also be inspiring for people considering such work for other fundums.
Well, I did most of the research for this book while I was a diplomat at the Cameroon Embassy in London. So I used my position to gain access into most of the archives and libraries and government departments in the countries where I went to do this research. So it was easier for me to get some of those things done than probably it might have been if I were just like an ordinary researcher or a student for that matter. So I think using my office, I was able to lay hands on lots of documents which helped greatly in this research.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Question, comment?
One more. Sorry.
One more. Okay.
So
Sure.
yes. So in the course of your research and writing this book, was there something that stood out, like that surprised you and you went like, oh wow, I didn't, something that stood out to you as you wrote this? Something surprising, for example. I for one, as a reader, had so many aha moments, but
I can't put my finger on anything as such, because most of the stories I had heard them before, either from my father or from tales somewhere, and I was just confirming a few of the things that I had heard. And the more I confirmed the things that I had met before along the way. So I didn't find anything that would have surprised me. Maybe sometimes one would be surprised by the scale, for example, of a conflict, by the violence of the conflict, but or maybe the number of people who have been killed, for example, because when we hear that in the earlier wars with Mankon and Bafut, for example, that hundreds of people were killed, that would be difficult to appreciate in today's terms,
Wow. Thank you so very much. Anyone else? Without which I have a question of my own to ask. It has to do, basically, we usually say as a writer, when you write, it's not usually about your immediate audience. I think I said something about that before. You're writing for history, writing for posterity. And I was just wondering how this text, what we are discussing today is about the history of Bali Nyonga up to Galiga II. What about post-Galiga era? As a writer, by the way, as a writer, you assume that position like what we call in Bali, kokum. When you are writing, you kokum. So you just do what needs to be done as a writer. It's a sacred mission, which transcends any one person or any individual or even any group of people. How will the history post-Galiga II be like, as a writer who has already done so much with the period prior, going forward after that? What will be the way forward? How does one engage? What is your projection going forward post Galiga II? Thank you.
Going forward, the history would settle down, because history in itself is a sedimented version of journalism. What is being done immediately is reporting on events and occasions and incidents on society. It is with time that we can place such reports in a historical context and then be able to get a field conductor of the history itself. So in the post-Galiga era, we are constantly gathering information about happenings and about events. We would then be able to identify a trend, a historical trend into which those events would fit themselves.
Wow, thank you so very much. That's really wonderful. That's very expert response to that. And you know, as writers, again, I was saying, writers are people who just do their job. And sometimes you get one morning, one individual will embrace you and thank you for what you did. The next morning, that same individual becomes very uncomfortable with you. But as a writer, you just do your job. The rest is for whoever is getting it to do what they want to do. So thank you again very much. This is a wonderful, wonderful endeavor, wonderful project, wonderful experience. We'll give the floor again to whoever has a question or comment. We're still here. Anyone else?
If there are no questions, I can ask one more.
Sure, absolutely.
If you had the chance and the opportunity, what aspect of Bali history would you like to explore further?
If I have to, or rather one aspect of Bali history that should be properly explored would be the internal dynamics of Bali itself. Most of this history is directed outward. We have not explored our own inter and intra relationships within the fondom itself, to see how the various administrations of the fondom relate to one another, the structures and the classes and the groups, how they relate and how they merge and how they gel together. Because most of us have not taken time to understand the key roles played by each structure in the fondom. Sometimes we tend to minimize some of them, thinking that some of the offices are lesser offices, when in reality some of them are actually the most important offices for the survival of the bigger picture. So I think we should be able to investigate more and research more on the internal dynamics of the fondom of Bali.
Wow. Very useful. Very important. Very useful. Thank you. Yeah. Floor is still open. Who else? Question, comment?
This is more of a comment, I think.
Okay, sure.
I just want to kind of concur with what Bafondi has said. It is something that I have kind of really advocated. Bali is a composite society. So that means people come from different areas, and sometimes they still have their own individual histories of migration into Bali. It's very much like the United States. What unites the Bali people is the common language, but sometimes they may have very diverse and, in fact, divergent histories. So that is something we would need to learn more about. Another thing that is also of significance is Bali traditional diplomacy. So that's an area for exploration. What was the nature of the diplomatic relations between Bali and its neighbors, but also beyond? There was a very long time of cultural exchange between Bali Nyonga and its neighbors and other kingdoms. In fact, we have one historical work that will be coming out, Traditional Diplomacy in the Grassfields by Professor Nkwi, who is a well-known anthropologist. Okay. So his is kind of very broadly, intra-chiefdom diplomacy, from Comland to Nsok, all the other kind of surrounding kingdoms in the northern part of the grasslands. And I think we need something similar for the other southern parts of the grasslands as well as and the western part. So that is something I would encourage other historians to take up if they have access to those resources.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Uju. Thank you. Very useful. All right, the floor is still open. Question, comment?
I think we exhausted our 30 minutes, Victor. So we should move towards closure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll be way beyond our 30 minutes, as you just said. Usually we do close formally, but we still remain online, right? We still remain
Yes.
online and then do the after party kind of thing, you know. So Nijud, I'll give you the floor to, as usual, come to the closure, right? Omar, Lillian,
Yeah.
either of you.
Yeah. Let me hand over to Lillian.
Okay.
Yeah, please offer some closing remarks for us, and then the moderator, and then the author.
Okay, so on behalf of Spears, I want to really thank everyone who made the time to be here today and for your engagement. Thank you for all the comments, and thank you to all those who made purchases today. Really, it's been historic. We've never had a book launch where 100 copies were bought by chief launcher. So thank you to Landmark University and Professor Titanji, who is also one of our great scholars who's done a lot of work on Bali Nyonga culture and society. So thank you all. We really appreciate it. Please visit the website, get copies, and look out for more information about our forthcoming publications. Dr. Ndifonta just published another book with us. It's currently out as well. But this one we're launching today is his first work, a seminar work. I think it's going to be a seminar work in time to come. So really appreciate you all for showing up here today. Get your copies from our website and reach out to us anytime if you have any questions. We have different ways of paying. You can order and send Zelle or send Cash App if you don't want to make a payment on the website. We will still accommodate that. And we do have copies available in Cameroon through Dr. Ndifonta himself if you want to get a copy locally. So thank you all, and I'll hand it over to Dr. Ndifonta to offer closing remarks and then
by way of closing remarks, I just wish to thank everybody who has participated at this event. Being the first experience, I must say that I am very, very agreeably surprised. And I want to thank everybody for the pertinence of the interventions, the pertinence of the questions, and hopefully all of this shall help us improve the qualities of the works that we are going to be submitting to Spears Media shortly. I hope I shall be able to get to the publishers soon, because there was another book in the pipeline which I've just completed, and I'd love them to take a look at. That one is about Bali Nyonga culture, which we would complement this exercise that we have just done. Once again, thank you very much, and thank you to everybody who acquired copies of the work today. And let me chip in again that the arrangements are still open for people who have not yet had copies to acquire them. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
moderator.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to say we've had multiple book launches here in which I was either a moderator or co-moderator. This one has been really, really I would say the best in my estimation, both in terms of attendance and the response, the questions particularly. Mostly because the book itself, just from the title, I don't wonder why any person from Bali would not want to be part of this exercise. But again, we live in the kind of world that we live in today, and but we cannot afford to relent. As writers, as readers, as scholars, we have a sacred duty. Sometimes somebody will not want to shake your hand because of what you wrote or said, but guess what? Just do your job. Do your job, and we are doing our jobs. And thanks to Spear Media for promoting this. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I want to say it's a wonderful opportunity for me to have been the moderator of this event. I'm so glad to see Ban Defonta looking the same like he used to live when we were in Bansa and Yaoundé. I came to the big meeting and he was the president. There's really no difference actually. So we thank God for the health. We thank God for everything, for being here, and we look forward to more publications. He just announced one more coming. That one even sounds even more interesting to me. The Bali culture. So we're looking forward to it. And again, thanks to everyone who came here today. We can't say more than that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We look forward to our next book launch. Thank you. Thank you.